Hi, and welcome back to In My Hometown with Jamie Stein, where we get into the business of our neighbors.
Hi, and welcome back. We're so glad you're here in my hometown with me and Pascal. And we've got a great conversation. We were so excited to get together, but we have some news. We did have a guest that we were going to bring on today. And we don't have our guest with us.
Yeah, I think due to the government shutdown and the problem with the airline, obviously our guest couldn't be here in time. But I promise you that we'll get it next time. It would be very interesting to have him. So, but it's okay. We have a lot to talk about.
We do, and I mean, we've mentioned too. We are going to sometimes have guests and sometimes not. We've got we have special ones, and we have some experts lined up. And so it's this has been a fun experience and experiment with us, and I'm enjoying it.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it because we're able to talk about a lot of different subjects. From a marriage counselor to divorce to eventually sex therapy to some of them who were friend of mine in the Golden Bachelor and Bachelorette. I think it's exciting. I could see that what I'm excited about is the viewership. I mean, it's behind my expectations, Jamie. I didn't think that we'll have that much viewer, that much response. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. And we had such great response and comments to Jackie Pilosoff last week, our divorce expert.
Girl
the divorced girl smiling.
Yeah,
right.
Girl smiling. Yeah,
a lot of comments about it, and a lot of conversation even after the podcast with me.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people has a question about what do you do when you get divorced and after 25. We talked a little bit about Mel's divorce in our previous episode. So I think it was very interesting and informative for our audience to know a little bit. They have support there.
Yes.
In case of a feeling depressed, lonely.
Right.
I really enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah.
I think I took a couple time from it, which I learned. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think it was enlightening for me. I'm happily married, thankfully. But I think the idea that again, dating after divorce, especially later in life, it does influence your behavior, and how could it not? And
you locked up. I mean, you've been with someone for 25 years, like Mel. Let's just talk a little bit about Mel.
Yeah.
When he was there for 25 years, all of a sudden, she's gone. He's by himself.
Right.
Do you jump from a marriage to another marriage right away, or do you take some time and evaluate, look at yourself and say, hey, where am I? Who am I? What do I'm looking for? What mistake have I made? And I think that was very very interesting conversation we had, and hopefully our audience took some time out of that and. Go to girl smiling.
Divorce girl smiling.
Divorce
I'm
girl
here to
smiling.
get all the facts.
Yeah, it's okay because I forget a couple times.
That's okay. That's
okay.
right. That's the great part.
Yeah.
But yes, and they should go to that. And there's a lot of resources out there. I think the other comment that we saw after our show was about that topic was, some people had mentioned we didn't talk about the kids that are part of the divorce, and that goes without saying. There's a lot of collateral damage to what goes on, and choosing yourself, and choosing your family, and we certainly don't want to gloss over that. And those, in some instances, those are personal experiences, but certainly there's always impact to the children, and hopefully we're always thinking of our kids.
I agree with that. I think one day we should have a psychologist to talk about the effect of the children. Yeah. We talk about that. I think it's very important because we have tendency to look at ourselves and our spouse and we fight in and we put the children aside. But I know that personally, as a divorce, my children went to some very difficult time. I know that they've been scarred by that and their behavior over the years. I brought them to therapy, and they're at the age now they understand. But it was very difficult for them because they see two people tearing apart, mom and dad. Which side do I take? Do I take my mom's side? Do I take my father's side? And sometimes we have tendency to not say nice things about each other, and that's the sad part. We talk with, about how do we make it amicable? How do we get advice? How do we get some counseling to be able to go through that? I think, we will get back to that.
Yes, good. We could probably do that every week.
One episode about children.
Yes.
How we handle.
Good. So, and speaking of divorce and our favorite topic of Golden Bachelor and everything, there's been a lot in the news lately about the first Golden Bachelor, right?
Yeah, Gerry wrote a book. Gerry wrote a book, And I think
he got divorced after 3 months.
Yes, after divorce of 2 months. And Gerry wrote a book, and I think Trisha was really hurt by the way Gerry mentioned her into the book.
Up.
And Gerry wrote a book, and I think Trisha was very affected. But
his book is called. It's a tell-all, and it's called Golden Years: What I've Learned from Love, Loss, and Reality TV.
Yeah.
And so I had pulled a picture up, but we'll try to find that. But there he is. And first of all, something I note about this has got to be 10, 15 years old, the picture. It does not. It's a younger Gerry. I'm fine with it.
I will have to say one thing about Gerry. Okay, he's a very handsome man for his age.
Yeah.
Okay, he has a very good presence. He's lean. I think he was a good representation of the Bachelor. The only thing I was crazy about is he was monotone.
Yes.
He didn't have a pitch, low and high. He was always even and very emotional.
Okay.
That's the only thing about Gerry. But I think he was a very sharp dresser. And he was throwing, I love you too much.
Okay, what is this? Okay, I don't know. Okay, all right, okay.
It's like, you just slow down,
Yes.
I mean, I know you have feeling, but slow down. So anyway.
Yeah, he admitted that. I think that, again, you wonder too, given that he was a widower, did that influence his behavior? So you talk about divorce doing that, and people are hurt and guarded, like Mel is. I mean, Mel is totally, he is a hurt little lamb.
Yeah.
And I think it is affecting how he's behaving. He's totally guarded, and the way he's not really opening up. Gerry, maybe he was affected by his wife's death, and so he was looking for something quickly and looking to latch on.
I have a chance to read a couple paragraphs last night, stay up late.
Yes.
We went to an event. Actually, I do have some of my fellow bachelor in town. Chuck was in town.
Yep.
CK's coming up, Keith's coming up, Jordan's coming up, Jack's coming up. So we have a week of fun with them.
So
it's going to be a lot
great.
of great time.
Yes.
It's nice to. It's amazing the friendship, the camaraderie we built in time, and So last night I stayed up and I had the chance to go through Gerry's book a little bit, and what I found very interesting, then Gerry had a very big crush on Joan. Okay, when Joan left, he was waiting for a couple of weeks for her. He was hoping for her to come back.
Okay,
and when he realized that Joan didn't come back, then he started moving to Trisha and Leslie, and Faith. And his choice was Leslie. And I think personally, and again, being direct, I think I love Leslie. She's a very good friend of mine. Her and I talk all the time, and hopefully we're going to have her.
I've talked to her too.
Hopefully we're going to have her in our podcast because I think she was the second runner-up, and I wanted her to ask me what she think of the book because I'm sure she had the chance to read it. But I think he chose Trisha because of the financial situation, I would say. Trisha is a successful woman. She's done well in the stock market. She's got a very powerful job. And I think Gerry was looking for somebody to, there was a prenuptial agreement she was to sign. It was a kind of mess, that type of a relationship, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would. From what I've seen, I haven't gotten to read the book, so these are our thoughts based on sort of what we're reading and hearing and listening to. I think that you could be right that those reasons he chose her, and that maybe he thought she was going to contribute in a different way, that she had that she was willing to move, and she was going to do that, and then she changed her mind. I think a lot of what the book, he says, he complains about pretty much everything. So he complained about groceries that she chose.
Yes.
Okay, again, I haven't read the whole book, but this is what I'm hearing, and it sounds not great. That he's complaining about these things. That she changed her mind on working. I mean, people can change their mind on things. He changed his mind about not wanting to sell a house. And then she decided that she didn't want to move. He said that she made him sleep on the couch, and she's suggesting that he offered, and that they were intimate, and that
the house he was going to buy were way too much of their budget, and
she complained about him driving over the speed limit. He was saying that she made comments about his clothes. I mean, to me, those are typical married couple things.
Yes.
So maybe he didn't remember what it was like to be married.
He's maybe single too long.
Exactly. So I'm just going to say, I mean, again, I don't want to, I think if I had to choose right now, I think I would fall on her side on this.
I agree with you. I think I would fall on her side. I just think then...
And I've talked with her when she wants to come on and talk with us.
Yeah. I think Gerry tried to capitalize on the little fame he had and is making a book, obviously. And you could... it's fiction. All books are fiction. He's going to say 10 people. Obviously, look, we're talking about it. Okay, that's what he wants. Controversy.
Yes.
Controversy make people buy it.
For sure.
Controversy make people watch it. And I think that's what's happening with that book. I mean, I have no desire to buy it, okay, but I had the chance to glance through some of the paragraphs where I thought was interesting.
I love looking through a memoir. I tend to, it's very juicy, but I don't know if I want to give my money to him.
But there is three sides of the story. There is her, there is his, and everything in between.
I agree, but I could still have a point of view that I think I fall on her side.
I mean, from what I read, I definitely fell on her side. I just think Gerry was aligned the comment he made, okay, and that's it. But that's why I would have loved to have Chuck and John, because I know Chuck very well. He's a very good friend of mine, and I know that the relationship they have is so genuine, and it's working,
right?
Okay, if I have John alone talking about Chuck, she would say only good thing about Chuck, and I know that Chuck is in town, and we talk a little bit about it, and he adored John. So I think I want to show them the franchise working.
Yes,
if you make the right choice. I left because I felt like Chuck and Guy was much more ahead with their feeling. And for once in my life, I said, don't be selfish. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for the person. I was looking more for John to be happy. And I know then Chuck was the right guy for her. And,
you're a very selfless person.
I am.
I mean, no. In all seriousness, I do think that was really nice. That was. It was also knowing yourself. You have a great deal of confidence as well, and you also establish these relationships that we know are true and real with the guys. So I think that was very mature of you, and wonderful to be able to see that. I was going to just say that I think overall the franchise, look, in life, there are going to be relationships that don't work out. So it's not surprising that within the Bachelor Nation franchise that's going to happen. I know my first season that I watched, I think it was everyone's because it was the first Bachelorette, was Trista Sutter. And she's still with Ryan Sutter. And they've had some troubles, though, that she has shared. But they've weathered through it, and they've made it through to the other side, and it's great.
As you've been married for a while. You don't climb the ladder straight up.
Yes.
There is peaks and valleys, and it's how you walk those peaks and valleys who make the marriage successful. Unfortunately for myself, to be quite honest with you, I've been selfish, and I didn't want to walk those peaks and valleys, and that's why I got divorced.
Yeah.
But,
that's very reflective of you to share that.
I went to a lot of therapy for that.
Okay.
All
right. You didn't just come up with that.
I just don't come up with that.
Okay.
I went to therapy and try to figure out, every time I'm in a relationship, I'm trying to figure out why that relationship didn't work. What do I need to do to improve myself? Because improving yourself will make a healthy relationship. But regarding Gerry and Tricia, I personally think that I know Chuck very well, and I know that if Chuck and John were to split, Chuck will never said anything negative about John, and neither John will say anything negative about Chuck. I don't think people know. You want to write a book, write a book. Right. But write a book where he's got substance, he's got love, he's got caring. You don't put any hurt in being down.
That is curious. Why he felt that he had to do that, and I think when this first came out, I think she was saying, "I'm just going to keep my mouth shut about it," and she was going to say, she wasn't going to say anything about the book. But now there's so much conversation about it, and I understand and appreciate that she's been going on and talking about her side.
She should.
Why should she be silent? But I agree with you. I'm curious as to why he felt the need to write this book, and then from what I have, the snippets, albeit because we haven't read the whole book, but are just basically his complaints, just a running complaint. And he said he knew he was making a monumental mistake. A monumental mistake, he said, before he even got married. And Theresa said, well, then he shouldn't have married me, which I agree with.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think, again, and I'm going to refer to Chuck and John, it takes time to know somebody. Tricia said that. She said, how do you know somebody in 4 weeks, okay?
Right.
Particularly when you get a camera in your face and stuff like that. I think what I have the respect for John and Chuck is they take time. They get to know each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a conversation with him last night about how is he feeling. And he said to me, we are getting closer because we get to know each other better and better and better. It takes time to develop love. Could you be infatuation? I've been infatuation 100 times. But have I been in love 100 times? No. I think it takes time to develop that. And I think they rushed too much into the wedding. I don't know, that was the wedding, both wedding of their dream, which was a beautiful televised wedding. 6.1 million people turned into it.
Oh, I didn't realize that was that many.
6.1 million people turned into that wedding. So that was a very successful for the network and very successful. But I just think then slow down.
Yeah.
And that's the time. And again, Gerry, personally, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Right.
Because in the end of the day, you don't look good.
Yeah, it's not a good look. I agree. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
So speaking of the L word, love, this is probably a good segue for us to talk a little bit about the episode, the penultimate episode. We are just on like a speeding bullet train to the end of the Golden Bachelor. I feel like we've talked about it every week, that it feels like it's just been very fast. But speaking of love, we have someone who really is super reluctant to say that he's in love, or even feelings of love or falling in love. Again, respectable, right? That if you don't feel it, you shouldn't necessarily say it. But Jesse came on to sort of pull some teeth. And basically, he was like in there like a dentist.
Give me the dirt in here. I need to know.
Do you think they had him on there to basically get this guy talking?
Definitely. I think Jesse was trying to find out where Mel was with his feeling, because during the show, we didn't see any of that.
No.
Again, I don't know Mel, and I want to make that very clear, okay? I love one day to have her in our podcast and get to know the guy on a personal level. I think it'd be fun. But the way I see him, he seems very quiet, very laid back. He's the kind of guy, a man of few words, okay? And then you got two women, one or Peggy, who's I love. She's vibrant, she's energetic, she's fun. The matter of fact, the 10 out of 10 that was actually funny is when they went into the UV.
Yes.
Okay. And Mel was driving, and he was driving like 2 miles an hour.
I know.
And Peggy said, "Get the hell out of here! Let me take over."
Yeah.
And boom. And she was. I thought that was funny because
I wrote down hysterical because it really was.
Yeah. I think hysterical.
He has a bad back, and I could see
Could you
that
show
he
the
was.
Picture of a,
yeah, we have Peg.
Yes.
So he has a bad back, so maybe that was a little bit of a driver of him in the dune buggy not being as fast. But I also just think that they are opposites, and he's mentioned that a couple times. So let's back up though. So we find ourselves. This is the as I said, the penultimate episode, the episode before the final episode. We have the fantasy suites, or what they used to be called as the overnight dates.
Yes.
And we're in Antigua. And I pronounced it Antigua. I'm not sure if it's Antigua. Okay,
Antigua.
All right. And we have Cindy, who says that she is falling in love.
Yes.
And then we have Peg, who says, I could get there. So there's just a complete sort of the juxtaposition, right, of sort of where they are in things. And then, like we said, we have Jesse show up in the gym shoes.
I've wearing the gym shoes.
Okay. And then
I guess they're going to be very fashionable. You watch.
Right. They could be.
I think they're going to be an item to buy. You know?
That was cute. And then, like we said, he's got his gloves on and he's in as a dentist pulling those teeth and literally saying to Mel, Jesse literally said to him, so you don't have to be in love to share feelings. Like basically you can say some things without saying that you're in love. And then we have the first date with Peg. And so Peg and he go on the dune buggy.
Yes.
And as you said, they start with Mel and he is driving,
a miles an hour.
And then she drives, but he loved it. I mean, he was holding on for dear life,
from the beginning.
But he loved it.
Jimmy, that's what I said from the beginning. Opposite attract. I think Peg bring Mel to the next level.
Yes.
And I think that's very good. You cannot be too alpha in the relationship.
Right?
Okay, otherwise they will be banging.
Yes.
So there is one who is like Peggy, energetic, vibrant, and Mel who goes with the flow.
Yes.
And I think that's why, again, from the beginning I said, I personally think that's going to be my choice. He should be picking Peggy's.
So the other things that sort of struck me were that Peg was so confident, and she just had this, I don't want to call it, they're both mature ladies. They're both sophisticated and beautiful and hold themselves well and smart and all of those things. I just think that Peg, if you were, I think I don't want to speak from a man's point of view, but I would say she just was cooler in her approach. And I'm not saying she was doing it as an approach. She just seems to be, maybe that's just her authentic way. But she was like, look, we've done all the heavy lifting. I'm just looking for fun. I don't even know if I want to get married. I didn't think I would even, entertain that idea, but now I could maybe. So she's sort of, this is the way that what he's hearing from her. She's coming to him and saying, how do you feel about me? And I think he deflected and said, so how about the dune buggies, which was very weird that he did that. But I think he gave her some sense that he has feelings for her. He did. He said, I love your spirit. Like he was using the word love. So I thought that was sort of good. Yeah. And then they pull that card out, which I think is so funny. And it's from Jesse about the fantasy suite. And so they go.
Man, I think, go back a little bit with Peggy. I think Peggy is the type of woman, from what I see during the season, who wants to have a good time.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She doesn't want to have pressure. She was a firefighter, bomb squad. She was in the Marshal. I mean, she had a resume who was at 3-page long. So she's been around and she was dealing with a very tense job. Okay, I mean, what she did for a living, I give her my hat. Okay,
yes.
I mean, and so to me, right now in the stage of her life, right now, she want to have a good time.
Yes,
and the way she handled herself yesterday with Mel was, hey, let's have a good time.
Right.
I'm getting feeling with you. Let's take some time. Let's get to know each other. Let's see what it is. I don't need to be married.
Right.
They don't have to be married.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think to me the success of relationship between, again, I'm referring to Chuck and John, is they're taking time to get to know each other. Why getting married like Gerry after 3 months and writing a book and start bad-mouthing his wife? I think to me, Peggy handled herself extremely well yesterday. She wanted to have fun, and I think Mel had a great time with her.
But I'm just going to say, a big point of the show has been that you get, not everyone, but you get engaged, and that engagement could be as prolonged as you want it to be. It's sort of, that's the getting to know part. But that is what the show is to ask to marry. The guy or the girl, right?
Yeah, the promises of the show is to find a partner and be engaged, okay?
Engaged. We're saying that.
It's okay. There is no problem about being engaged.
Yes.
But jumping into a marriage right away after that, like Gerry did, I don't think that's the right answer.
We're in agreement on it.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
But that is what the idea is. So then they go off on their fantasy suite, and I don't know what you felt, but I thought that there was, when they showed the cameras that next morning, that there was a comfort level.
Yes.
And it felt like just natural. Again, we're watching it on TV, but it did seem that way. Yeah. And I thought he seemed more at ease than I've seen him the entire season. laying in the bed with his head against the board, and so I thought that was a good sign for them.
I was focused on the croissant. Oh. I swear to God, I would have eaten those croissants. I'm French. I love croissants. So I think,
I didn't even see that.
The croissant was when he brought the plate with the croissant. I said, "Oh my God, I would have eaten that."
All right, I was sort of focused. I thought he had his shirt off. He looks really good.
He looks good.
I'm not into way older men, but
66 years old. He's in a great shape. And again, I think the way I look at Mel. There is some people who wear a suit and they look like $1 million, okay? And there is people who wear sweatpants who looks terrible. I think Mel look much better casually with a T-shirt, with a jeans, with versus a suit, okay?
Yeah, this is your first hot take of the conversation today. That I love it, and it's a fashion hot take.
No,
because you've been talking about his fashion this whole time, and basically you're saying he's just more of an everyman.
Yeah, he's a more casual kind of guy than he's a dressy guy. I think putting a suit on Mel versus putting a T-shirt and a jean, I'll take him with a T-shirt and a jean because he looks much better like that. But to get back to the fantasy suite, you're right. I agree with you. They were at ease. They were comfortable with each other. They seemed like they had a great time, the great conversation. Mel was very relaxed. I would have said, Mel, I think, there is a sunscreen 50. Okay, I will recommend it. I think he got burned a little bit on the island. Okay.
It was like right here and
in his face. I said, so number 50 will work, Mel. Next time you go in Antigua, just buy sunscreen.
Do you think they slept together?
I don't know. I mean, to me, if I was going into the fantasy suite, it's not about having sex, it's about having communication. Get to know each other off the camera. What is your goal? What do you see yourself being in the next couple of years? How are we going to hand up our long-distance relationship? I just think that by kissing a woman, I know by kissing a woman if the chemistry is there.
Okay. So it doesn't have to go farther than that to know.
It doesn't have to go farther than that. I think to me, if they did, that's great. Okay, she's attractive.
Yes, of course, and it's their decision. I was just more asking. I'm just asking for some juicy thoughts.
I wouldn't mind, if I was Mel, I will make the move, but,
Well, they looked comfortable. They looked relieved.
They look like it looks like the stress was out, so maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. And again, it's, whatever they want to do, but what you're saying is that you don't think so to get engaged to someone, you wouldn't need to be physically intimate in that way with them. You have
to. As you know, chemistry is extremely important.
But you're saying that you could get that from a kiss, not from an actual intercourse.
Holding a hand of someone, know if there is that energy between you and her. Kissing someone, is that energy. Definitely holding someone, if there is energy. You could have a beautiful woman, you holding her, and there is no spark there. So. I don't know if they did that. Mel looked very relaxed. He feel like he's stressed out. He
did feel so much more at ease. That was my thought.
Know.
So I don't know. All right. Well, I guess we're going to find out a little bit more. So then let's move over to Cindy.
Yeah.
Because, you go from this, which was, I don't know if it could have been better than that.
Tender,
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was a great
date, great experience,
great fun.
Exactly. We can go to the next picture because this is how they leave each other.
Yes.
And they, he walks off on this gorgeous beach.
Beautiful. Antigua. Have you been to Antigua?
Yes, I have.
It's gorgeous beach.
But I don't know how to pronounce it, but I've been there.
Antigua.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And so they leave each other and it's on this gorgeous glow. Okay. And then we go over to Cindy and she's waiting at the beach and we have a picture of Cindy next.
Cindy, yeah.
Yes. And so Cindy's waiting and she's a little bit more, she's definitely looks nervous.
Yes.
Because I don't know if she knows that that he just had the date. She sort of said in her interview that she's unsure. So he comes and they have they're not on dune buggies, but they go off to meet these Stingray cities, which I've been to, yes.
Yeah,
which is a really fun thing to do.
God. What a lifetime experience.
Yeah, which I don't know why he was so nervous about it, but everyone has their thing.
Everybody gets done. I hate spider. You see spider, I run away. But stingray, I used to be a diver, and I went to a place named not Belize, the Cayman Island.
Okay.
In the Cayman Island, they discover an island in Le Piece where the fishermen after their catch, they come into that bay and they throw their what they cut from the fish, and there is 100 of stingray, and it become very National Geographic one there. So I had the chance to go and dive with the stingray in the stingray city. It is fantastic. I mean, they are beautiful. They felt like a velvet. You touch them. And so I could understand that some people are afraid.
Yes, when I was like that. So I've done this with my family, and I was in the water. I eventually got over to it, but my fear was, that is his name Steve Irwin, who's a famous. He's actually Robert Irwin's father, who Robert Irwin is on Dancing with the Stars right now, and he was he's an Australian. I don't know what they call that, a conservationist maybe, but he was killed by a stingray. It was a freak accident. He was swimming, and the stingray.
You're talking the guy from Australia was like, what is his name? Yes, Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin. Yeah, he was killed years ago.
The crocodile.
Yes.
He was
and
like
so I don't know, that's what makes me scared of it. Even though it's a freak accident. It's freak. It's not like that happens when you're holding them and such, but it was just at the exact angle when he was swimming and all of that. But that's what freaked me out when we were doing it. I don't think Mel was thinking about that. So,
no,
but nevertheless, I know. But nevertheless, he was a little bit apprehensive. Cindy got in there. He ended up coming, and so that was a good date. I'm wondering though why they had Mel go on these 2 dates, the Dune Buggy and the Stingray City. Did he choose those? It didn't make him. I just would have thought maybe they would have chosen something that he felt more comfortable doing. But maybe again, he wants to do these.
I think again, I'm not going to talk about the production because that's not. We decided not to talk about.
And I'm not asking you.
I'm not going to reveal anything. I don't want to be in any more trouble.
Right. Okay.
So I think going to the Stingray City is a lifetime experience. Mm-hmm. And being in Antigua is known to have a stingray city. So bringing him into that experience, I think to me, that's great. I would have loved, I would have jumped with the stingray. I would have played with it. Some people are scared, but
Cindy?
Sandy felt very comfortable. She was there playing with them, and she tried to in the end, she brought Mel touching the stingray, and he felt a little bit comfortable. But everybody has their comfort zone. And
and that's maybe their opposites attract. So you've got Peg, and she's got this, energy and this wildness to her that's a safe wildness, which is what sort of Mel said. She's safe. We know she's safe with her. But then with Cindy, there's an opposites just in terms of, I guess, the horses that he wasn't as comfortable with, and now the stingrays. So anyway, they eventually got into it. They're lounging on the back of the boat together. I didn't feel, it looked romantic. I didn't feel myself as a viewer that that I had the sense that there was a comfort there. There's definitely a relationship that's being built, but I could tell that she had a lot going on behind her eyes. It just looked like
she was eager to ask questions. She wanted to try to get out of Mel what she wanted to hear. Mm. And as I said earlier, Mel is a man of few words, and she wasn't able to pull out of Mel what she wanted and keep asking questions. And I felt like it was a little tension there, as she didn't feel comfortable. And then after that, she said, "Oh, do you want to swim again?" And they jump in the water again just to try to break the ice a little bit.
I think that was a good observation.
Yeah, it's a jump in the water to break the ice a little bit, and then they go into that one.
They went on their date. Yes. And then they had their date. And they were surrounded by these beautiful candles. It was this gorgeous visual scene, but yet the conversation was just not going where she wanted it to, and it was uncomfortable.
Oh my God!
I was squirming.
I would say for Sandy, she was asking a lot of questions about her feelings. She was a little bit jealous of the relationship she had with Peggy. Did you go on Peggy's date? Instead of focusing on her. Okay, and him, she's trying to say there is another woman. How do you feel about Peggy and this and that? I just don't think I don't think that was the right time. I think, again, it's time for you to have a good time. Yeah. How did you think about the Stingray City? How did you feel? Would you do it again? You know what? If we're together, maybe we should go and maybe dive with a shark, or
Right.
Have you been to Antigua before? Which island have you been? And be more casual. Don't be so uptight. I think she was uptight. She wanted an answer.
She wanted answers,
from him.
and she felt that he wasn't asking her enough questions. She said that a couple times in her interview with the camera, where she said, I want to know if he has more questions for me. So I think she came at it more serious. She maybe was just in her head about it. She asked about Peg, whereas Peg didn't ask about Cindy, or at least we didn't see that. So I think that was interesting, and you brought that up. And here's my take, though.
Go ahead.
Okay,
I want to hear
this is
your
my
take because
big
I'm going
hot
to give
take.
you my
okay,
take.
because I have a really big hot take, and I
good.
cannot
What
wait
is
to
your
hear
take?
what you have to say about it. You have is he 66? You have a 66-year-old man who has said that he loved someone one time, and he married her. And he is now dating, he met 23 or 24 women, and then now it's down to these ladies. He went on a very intense date where it had an overnight aspect. We don't know what happened, even if they just kissed, it was still a night overnight. And he's coming into, and we already said that he doesn't date well. Like, maybe, I don't even know how much he's dated, because, he hasn't been divorced that long again. And so he's coming into this date with Cindy. And I just think he seemed, in my mind, to sort of not spiral, but it was like, I think that affected him. And I think he was acting different with her because he just came off of this incredible date and overnight. And what guy in today's time is really able to do that? I mean, yes, on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and Bachelor Nation, they're doing it. But what does that take for someone to go and have that experience with some woman and then go and have another experience with another woman, even if you like her?
I mean, to be quite honest with you, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think he went with Peggy. Peggy and him had a wonderful time, and as you could see, they end up going into the fantasy suite. And then all of a sudden he goes with Sandy, and Sandy is more like wants to know where he stands. She puts so much pressure on him, talking about Peggy. She had no business talking. I just said that earlier. She had no business talking about Peggy. She put so much pressure on Mel, and I felt like he was retrieving. I felt like he felt very uncomfortable, and she wanted to know about his feeling through her. And again, we've talked in the past, and Mel's been married for 25 years. He just recently divorced, and he hasn't really been in the market for a long time. And all of a sudden, you throw him 25 women and say, hey, pick up one. As we could see the season, how he navigated through it. And that was a very difficult experience for him. He's not the kind of guy, like me a little bit, where, I talk to anybody, And so all of a sudden, he's got the final two, and he goes on a wonderful date. And then he's going to know the date. I think if Sandy would have made fun of that date, how did you like the scenery city? Would you do it again? How fun? And just make a light conversation. I think it would have felt much more easy. But Sandy was trying to find out, do you love me? I am the right person for you. How do you feel about Peggy? And that was the wrong thing for her to do.
Couldn't agree more. So I think.
Oh, you agree with me?
Yes, no,
Would you agree with me? You don't agree with me.
I think we're saying sort of the same thing. Not that in that he was coming fresh off something that was so amazing, right, and fun, and we could tell that he is a reluctant. I don't know. Can we say he's a reluctant Golden Bachelor? I think that he is. I think that he's on the show, but he doesn't seem to be, in my opinion, full bore into it. So he's guarded. Something's happening. I saw for the first time some of his guard came down when we saw him in bed that next morning. He just seemed
relaxed,
so smiling
like
and laughing, and I've never seen in the whole season that feeling. Then he comes into this, so maybe he was already maybe this isn't even conscious on him, but he was having a hard time maybe engaging with her, and then she made it worse, Cindy, by pushing at him and wanting more more confirmation from him, and he just wasn't going to give it. So I think it's all of that. But what I'm saying is essentially, I think I'm calling him a good guy, because I think that he was, while it was awkward and uncomfortable to watch, and he was sort of saying, I'm not looking for that, or he kept saying, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to maybe not give her any promises. And
I personally think that his mind was set up on Peggy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To be honest with you, I just think that going with Sandy was just to go to the motion. The matter of fact, I think the show cut off.
Yeah.
She didn't get we didn't hear about the
No,
fantasy
we don't know.
suite,
I mean, we have some guesses.
I will be, again, it's my speculation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if Sandy's going to even stay at this point. I mean, from basically what she got from Mel during that dinner, if I was Peggy, I will leave, because I didn't get any answer, and that's basically my just my opinion.
Yeah, I think right. I mean, we certainly are being set up to sort of see that there's some sort of potential plot twist or something that's going to happen. I think that she was not happy when we left her, right?
Yeah.
Even though we did have a picture of her on the beach with him kissing him, it wasn't as calm.
There is that picture,
yeah. Or actually, this was not when they were saying goodbye. So maybe this is not the right one to look at.
But I don't think they said goodbye, because they went for dinner.
Oh yeah, you're right. So we don't have a goodbye.
No. They went for dinner, and then he cut.
The lights are getting to me. I can't remember.
It's okay. It's okay. That's why I'm here sometimes.
Yes,
you correct me. I correct you.
Here. Okay.
I think what's happening. They went for dinner.
Yeah.
She put a lot of pressure in Mel.
Yeah.
Mel felt very uncomfortable, because if I was him, I would feel uncomfortable.
Yes, he did.
Bringing Peggy into the equation and having never been in that situation. I mean, you sign up to be in the Golden Bachelor, okay? You knew there was going to be some competition. So why worry so much about the competition? Worry about yourself. Leave the moment and enjoy.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting is after the dinner, during the dinner, then it's cut.
Right.
And then no fantasy suite card was offered.
Well, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. It could be. But let me ask you this, because you were on the show. And this is not giving, I know, it's not giving anything away, but I think that this idea, okay, just in life, expectations meet reality. So we all have expectations when we go into something and we think, oh, I can handle this, or this is not going to be a big deal. And then when you're confronted with it in real life, maybe it's not as easy. I would think that, I haven't been on the show, but I would think I could imagine that I would think I could handle it. And then maybe you'd get there, and depending on your feelings or the type of person you are or triggers that you have, that all of a sudden it would be hard. So I don't fault Cindy for bringing up Peg or having the feelings about it. She probably shouldn't have brought it up.
I don't think she
should. It wasn't the right approach. No. And so then my question as a viewer is, if she had been the first date, and then Peg was second, would we be in a different situation? Would Mel have reacted differently to those questions? Like, I guess we won't know.
We don't. To be quite honest, we don't know who is the first or the second date.
They're showing us that it was first, and then we have a preview for next week that had Mel sitting with Peg saying, "I just had my date with Cindy," and he's telling Peg this. So I do think that suggests chronologically that happened that way, but we don't know. So
we don't know,
I think what we do know is that there's some drama next week that we are excited to see, and that we do feel that from this, I'm going to speak for you, you feel that the Peg date went better, and that you think they're a better match.
I think.
Is that true?
I mean, my opinion is, I think if I was Mel, I would pick up Peg and down.
Yes.
I think she bring Mel what Mel's need. Sandy is a wonderful woman, and from what I see during dinner, she put way too much pressure on Mel. And I'm very. I will be surprised if Sandy stays.
What do you think too? Do you think that this factors in that Peg is in Las Vegas, which is within driving distance to Orange County? She has one daughter. So just, not that she doesn't have ties or family, but she just seems to be a closer connection to maybe Mel. Whereas Cindy is in Austin, Texas. She has 3 daughters. One is married, one's engaged, and the other one. So, and it's not within driving distance. It would be a plane. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Again, the distance, if you look at Chuck and John, Chuck live in Wichita, John live in Maryland.
Right.
And if you care about the person, you make it work. You know what I'm saying? You make it work. And at the stage of the time where you could travel together, I think to me the best way to know somebody is take a holidays with that person. Have that person 7 days a week, from 24 hours a day together, and that's how you will know how they wake up, the type of mood they have, how long does it take to get ready, you know what I'm saying? So I think the distance is for me personally.
Do they close the bathroom door?
Huh?
Do they close the bathroom door?
Do they flash the toilet?
Right.
Do they
put the seat down?
Right.
Seat down? All those things.
Yes. So I think to me. I personally, for me, and I said that in many times, then
you have said it many times. You think that they're a better match, Peg.
But I think the locally bachelor from it will be much easier, particularly for our group age.
Yeah.
Because again, and I said that in the past, I want my partner on a more than a weekend basis or 2-week basis. I don't want to pop on a plane. I mean, if somebody I live in Chicago, if somebody live in Aurora, she's geographically undesirable for me. I'm not driving an hour and a half.
I have to say though, and this is something that when I would love to know, and maybe Chalk and Joan have answered it. I think that there's benefits from a long distance relationship. I think, my husband traveled for a while, and I thought there were benefits from him being gone a couple of days a week. I got to watch my own shows at night. Like there were a couple of things that I think you could get used to.
I agree.
Potentially, it depends on, I guess, how far and what you do, the compromises you make and things that you do. But I think that there's got to be some advantages, especially later in life.
Yeah,
too.
I think if my wife was a stewardess, I would have said married today.
Okay, right. Maybe that's who you should look for.
That's maybe what I'm looking for, a stewardess who travels 3 days a week.
Let's keep going in your head. I have a couple quick fire questions.
Okay,
Antigua edition for you, Pascal.
Yes, go ahead.
What is your best Caribbean drink?
My best Caribbean drink, I don't drink.
I
don't drink alcohol.
Okay, I did not.
No, so
a mocktail.
I would say pina colada.
Okay.
I like pina colada with no alcohol.
Okay.
And I will have I would like mojitos with no alcohol. I like mojitos. And there is like apricot mojitos.
Never had that.
Oh, you never
had
an
apricot mojito. I've had a mojito.
The mojitos, they have a...
I'll take the alcohol, though.
You take the alcohol.
Okay.
I have strawberries mojitos, so there's a good fresh drink. But alcohol, no. I like to be in control.
Okay. I think I knew that about you, and then I forgot. A must-pack outfit for Antigua. And did you like Mel's outfit choices?
Yes, I think when I watched him last night and I look at Mel, he looks good. I like him in sportswear much better than I like him.
And his shirt unbuttoned.
Yeah, it's okay. He's got a nice body. The shirts are linen shirts.
Sunscreen.
I personally think that those shirts could be a little bit more fitted. They were a little too baggy for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a fashion guru.
Yeah, he had one that was an ombre shirt. I loved that.
He had those linen shirts, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I just think a little bit more fitted, but I like him in sportswear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A worst. This is good. Oh, the worst first morning conversation. So you have you have the night with a lady or looking at the fantasy suite with Mel and Peg, because we didn't see or know if Cindy has one. But what would be the worst thing that Peg could bring up that next morning afterward?
Oh, I didn't.
What
sleep
turns
well.
you off?
I didn't sleep well. Oh, I couldn't sleep last night.
Okay. That would turn, you just don't want to hear. You don't want to hear that.
No,
okay.
No.
All right, good. What on the flip? What's one or two things that you would tell Mel? I know you have more than one or two things.
I got more than one thing. I could take 2 hours for that.
Okay, let's keep it to just one or two.
I think Mel, be a little bit more interested in your partner. Ask more questions. Find out what is she like. Find out a little bit more about her family, the relationship she had. What is her hobby? Try to get to know the person in a deeper level. They were in the fantasy suite, so I don't know what was talking in the fantasy suite. But I think during the show, Mel was not very engaging about them. That was about him, you know.
That's what it
seemed. And what we've learned last week is it's about you. You know, you gotta work with that person. And I just felt like Mel could have been a little bit more engaging, ask more questions about Peg. What is her favorite vacation? What is her favorite dinner? What kind of food does she like?
Maybe they covered that in the overnight.
I mean, it would take me 3 overnight to cover everything. You
right,
know, but,
right.
You know.
That was it, as it should.
Yeah.
And then last rapid fire is what do you think is more pressure, the hometown dates or these fantasy suite sort of overnight dates? For the relationship,
I think a couple of times the hometown date is a lot of pressure because she's coming into your home. You introduce her to your family. You look at her to your kids and friends' lens, what they think of her. So, and as you know, family is extremely important. If my son says, no, Dad, I don't think it's the right for you, I will take my son's consideration. I think the hometown date is a lot of pressure. And the other thing is when you go into the fantasy suite, I think it must be a lot of pressure because the camera off. And then when the camera off, that's when you really ask those deep, those deep questions.
Right, to get to know. So there's a lot of pressure on that because you want to really...
Because you want to know. I mean, you have few hours to really talk about logistic, how we're going to make this work. Talk about us, where we see us going. I think those are... And obviously, the hardest moment is to make the choice. You know, I mean, you get 2 beautiful women and, I'm sure he built some feeling for both of them. But the show is you got to pick up one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
and it's not natural for someone to be sort of choosing between 2 people and having this. I mean, let's just admit it. This whole show is not natural, but it is. It's sort of put together. It's orchestrated, and it gets you somewhere. And I think some people, it's a journey, as they keep calling it. But I would think that he is having a hard time with it. But we'll see what happens.
But this is life, Jamie. You know, I mean, when you're in a dating world, okay, like I am, you go on a lot of dates, okay, and then you say the same story to this one, you try to find out what she is, and then in the end, you make your selection about the way. The difference between the show and life is they don't know each other. They haven't seen each other. So it's easy to talk to Sandy, to Debbie, to John, to whatever, okay, and have a conversation.
Right.
But, I mean, life is about meeting a lot of people, going out on a lot of dates, and hopefully to find the one who is your match. And so the show are showing it in national TV, which is a lot of pressure, but that's what life is about.
Okay.
Going on a lot of dates. So, and then when you say goodbye to one in real life, it doesn't matter because nobody sees it. The other one doesn't know. But when you say goodbye in national TV, there is feeling there, I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, because we're all emotionally invested. So keep watching keep watching the show, and we cannot wait till next week to see where this goes. And so what are you going to be doing in between that next show? What do you got going for the weekend?
This week I got a very busy week. Like I said earlier, I have a bunch of Golden Bachelor. I got my buddy Chuck. I got CK's coming up with my roommate. I got Jack who's coming up. I got Keith who's coming up.
I love Jack. We need to bring Jack back.
Yeah, I love Jack. I got Keith who's coming up. Jordan's coming up.
Yeah.
We invited
Jordan.
Michael.
Wow.
We invited Gil. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it.
Okay.
But we have a lot of plans.
All the cool kids.
Actually, Saturday night, we're going to see the comedian Gerald.
Oh, yeah, Jared Fried. You guys are going to go.
We get tickets to go see him at the Riviera. Sunday, I'm taking all my buddy to the football game because I've got to sacrifice myself to go to the Bear game, which is not my turn at all, but because I love those guys, I'm going to go to the Bear game with them. We have a couple dinner. We have an event to go tonight. We have a couple dinner plan. We're going to go to Tao for dinner. We're going to go to Lira for dinner. And then I'm going to show them a little bit around the town. I'm going to be the chauffeur and show them how beautiful Chicago is. But it's amazing the camaraderie we have built with those guys, where to me, it's again, what I get out of the Golden Bachelorette is the friends I've made, and they mean a lot to me.
That's great. I can imagine what happens when you guys walk into a place, all of you guys. So take pictures and we'll show them next week.
I don't know if I'm allowed to do that.
Okay, well,
I will have to ask the permission.
All right,
okay?
get the permission if you can.
What we want is...
Are you going to see Jared? Are you going to get backstage with Jared?
I mean, I hope so.
Okay,
I hope so.
Too.
And again, keep following us.
Yes, we need you to subscribe.
We love you comment.
Right.
We love you comment. We go through all of them. So please give us your comment. Okay, good, bad. I want to hear how well we're doing, and keep following us, guys.
Yes,
because
and
we have
subscribe.
lot
if you
more.
want to get more from us, subscribe.
Yeah.
That would be a great way to do it. All right, this is another
That's it,
great
Jimmy.
show.
It's nice seeing you. Okay,
good seeing you.
I'll see you later.
Okay, bye.